What is going on, shrimp keepers? This is Rob with flipaquatics.com, and today we are doing a long-awaited update video of what we're calling the wholesale building, but this is our second building. It's kind of the basement of where I have my office, where we have the gallery, where Tyler's office is, and a lot of our storage is. So this is where we keep the planted tank rack. You can see kind of behind me. We also have some overflow of Neocaridina over here, some other kind of like little breeding projects we're doing, and just some really cool stuff. So I want to give you guys a tour today, so that's what we're going to do. So let's jump right into it. So let's start off by giving you guys the lay of the land. So these are the steps that you come down into the basement. This wall kind of had some tanks on it for the longest time. We actually had a, I don't know, an overflow fish rack that was going down here. So since, I don't even know the last time we've done a video on here, so I'll just kind of catch you up on everything that's going on. So we're actually in the process of breaking this rack down. There's some leftover stuff that we'll get to. But this is kind of like all of our overflow boxes. And these are all like, you can see, medium flat rate boxes. These are the tops and the bottom. So it's like just a lot of overflow from here. And so tons and tons of stuff going on. Tons of foam. We actually have a ton upstairs too, but we need to extend this out because you can see like sometimes this wall leaks a little bit, and so we're gonna put this kind of matting down that keeps it off the ground so it doesn't get wet on the bottom. So we need to bring that out, and we're actually gonna do a second row there. So we really cleaned this up. This back room is kind of like just some random shelving storage area. These are all the shelves for the shelving units, and then we got a bunch of trash boxes here. This is all of our trade show storage. A bunch of our tanks are underneath here with some extra lighting. And then we have all of our RO water storage. Tons of totes going on. Our RO system's over there. We got all the sink stuff back here. It's kind of a mess. But this is what we got going on. This is as far as livestock goes. We got like a little bagging station here. We got another little bagging station here. Nothing like super high tech. Along the wall we got a bunch of ponds that we do some like, you know, different guppy breeding and kind of things like that. We also have some plants in there. We got 2 rows of shrimp, and then we got this row of plants, and then this back row is actually plant propagation. So one of our new employees, Mark, shout out to him. He's been killing it with livestock lately as far as plants go. The dude really has a passion for plants, so just wait till we see this plant system. You are going to be absolutely blown away. So I'm going to take this by section, and we'll jump right into this video. We're gonna start over here, and I'll kind of bounce around and show you guys a little bit. So let's start off with these ponds first, because I think these are pretty interesting. These ones are actually redwood floaters, but you can see like we got duckweed for days in here. So this is a super pain that we've been trying to deal with. So we actually set up some other ponds, and we're gonna try some other stuff out to get this stuff, you know, more under control. Not as much duckweed. And then like this is a salvinia pond. Like we've done really good about keeping duckweed out of this setup, and you can see like some of this looks really good, but yeah, so our floating plants we kind of keep down here, and then we actually have a full duckweed setup, and underneath all this there's fish, and we actually have these feeding rings. We're really not utilizing them right now based on the way they look, but yeah, we got a whole duckweed pond, and which is kind of silly. Like, why do you have to grow duckweed? And this stuff, I'll actually open it up. This is like Java moss. It isn't looking the greatest, so we haven't been selling it. And really what this stuff was is it's all the stuff that was left over at the bottom of the tote. You can see there's some nice guppy grass growing up in there. But yeah, this stuff needs some love. And I think on the camera it looks worse than it actually looks in person. But yeah, so that's what's going on in there. Now this one is dwarf water lettuce. And you can see like we do a really good job of keeping duckweed out of our systems, because all of you that are in the aquatics hobby, you know that duckweed can just take over, and if you don't want it, it's absolutely horrible. So this system is like a 2-part series. We got the water lettuce up top, and we got the subwasser tank down below, and I don't know what type of fish we have in there, but there's obviously not a ton of them. And then this is a red root system that doesn't have duckweed. So this is what we strive for, right? This is what we want it to look like all the time, and unfortunately it isn't that way. So this stuff actually looks really, really good. And again, kudos to Mark, because he kind of runs our plant setup. And so so this one, this is the last one, which this one is really a pain in our butt. We're still trying to get this under control. There's a type of bug that just continuously breeds in here, and it's not even like an aquatic bug, like it's literally like a gnat. And so we have screens on all of our tanks because we didn't want the gnat to get anywhere else. So right now we got the gnat kind of bug contained in here, and we got all these little fly strips, which you can see, like these are the new ones we put in this week, and there's really none on it. These are the ones that have been in here for a while. You can see there's quite a few in here, but let me see if I lift it up, if you guys can see any. Yeah, like there's one right there. So they're not even aquatic bugs, like they're literally like mosquitoes. I don't know, but they are a super pain in the butt. So hopefully we'll be able to get these back under control, and then we'll actually be able to start selling guppy grass again. So, I mean, we got a couple other places that we keep it, like we got a pond outside where we have it, but it's frustrating. So the last little section on this wall is we got like these swordtails, just a bunch of different types of swordtails, and they're all like koi patterned, and so absolutely love these guys. And so Mark's been trying to breed these guys and seethe, and we'll see what happens, but really pretty fish. And I grew up, like one of the first things that I've ever had was besides a goldfish were mollies, and so I just love them. I think they're really pretty fish. And so we got some subwaster tang in there, some guppy grass, some other floating plants, and then the last thing is this is kind of like a miscellaneous tank. It's one of our retirement village type areas. Mark actually put this huge Amazon sword in here that it's just too big to ship, and so instead of like hacking it up and trying to ship it, we figured we could just let it grow out in here. You can see it's putting off little shoots for some baby plants, and just a really cool tank. So yeah, the guys take really good care of this system over here. I'm really proud of them. They do a really good job, but that's what we got for this. Just in case you guys didn't know, I'm so close to hitting 100K subscribers, which 100,000 subscribers is a huge milestone for any YouTube creator. So super duper excited about that. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. But I decided what I'm gonna do when I hit 100. This is a 300-gallon tank behind me, and I'm gonna set this bad boy up. I've been wanting to set this thing up for a long time, so I'm gonna make it happen. We're setting up a 300-gallon tank, and that will be the celebration of 100K subscribers. So super excited for that. Gallery's coming soon. It's looking phenomenal already, and so we got a lot of great things to come. So let's get back to the video. Next up, let's focus in on these 125 gallons, and then we'll jump on over to the plants. But you can see these are snowball shrimp, and they're just babies, and more babies. That's a reference to Primetime Aquatics, if you didn't know. Lots of babies. And so yeah, this tank's doing really good. This is one that we actually have 2 tanks of snowballs, and so based on how they're breeding, I don't know if we'll ever have to order snowballs again, because by the time these ones grow up, we'll probably have sold out of the tank below it, and then those babies will grow up, and so on and so forth. So we'll just keep kind of bouncing back and forth. But I don't know, in this tank, like you can see my bald head right there too. But on the like right here on my bald head, you can see baby shrimp all over the place. So just really cool. And then down here, same thing. These ones are a little bit more grown up. This is a tank we've had for longer, but like I would say maybe 75% of what's left in here is new babies. And why they call these shrimp snowballs is this right here. Like, I know that the lighting isn't doing it justice, but the baby or the females have white eggs which look like little snowballs, so that's where they get the name snowball shrimp. And really pretty shrimp. So these guys have always been really cool ones for me. I've always enjoyed keeping them. And next up we got a buffering water tank. So this means that this is a low pH. We got some Brightwell shrimp soil down in here. I think this is the Rio Cafe 3 millimeter, I'd say, which is the fine. But we keep our bamboo shrimp in here. You can see bamboo shrimp are the biggest gentle giants in the whole shrimp hobby. Like, they don't hurt a fly unless it flies into its tentacles, I would assume. But there's not many left in here. We actually have the rest of them down there, which we'll get to. This is kind of an assorted tank. So we were training one of our new employees on how to clean tanks, and he actually siphoned up a ton of babies. So what we did is when he siphoned the babies up, he put them into a trash can, like a trash can we use for water. And we realized it, so we were able to catch all the babies out. And since we didn't know what tank they came from, we literally put them in here. And then they've been growing out for the past, I want to say month and a half. And you can see like, well, there's an amount of shrimp. He came from somewhere else. But there's just tons of shrimp in here. So we actually use this as one of our selling assorted tanks now, just to keep things easy, because it's too hard to put them back where you think they came from. And then we have another assorted tank in here. This is the one we're actually selling out of right now, or one of these. I think it's either this one or the one below it. But there's orange rillies in here, all kinds of stuff, carbon rillies. Actually, there isn't orange rillies in here, I lied. There's regular oranges, and I think there's red rillies, and then there's some carbon rillies, like there's some blues right there. So just a bunch of different stuff. And then what's down here? I think it's the same type of thing. No, this one is actually orange rillies, it looks like. Which we actually had a huge situation with this. Again, you know, with having new employees, mistakes tend to happen, and things that have never happened before actually happen, which really sucks. We were supposed to dose this tank with ACCR, and the employee accidentally dosed it with, it isn't even funny, it really sucks, Algaecide, which Algaecide is toxic to shrimp. And I told him to do a full squirt of ACCR, and he did a full squirt of the Algaecide, which is meant for dosing 300 and like, I think it's 375 gallons, something like that. And so we came in the next day and there was like 80 dead in here, and we're like, oh god. So we actually moved these guys, put them into a new tank, been treating them like water, tons of water changes, adding bacteria, just making sure they're healthy. And so luckily we were able to save, I mean, a lot of them, but you know, we still lost a lot. So now it's a learning experience. Once we get to the other side, I'll show you what we've done to make sure that never happens again. But here's our tank of bamboo shrimp that are just living La Vita Loca. They're loving life. Look at this little baby one. Oh, that's pretty cool. He's like a third of the size of the other ones. But tons of bamboo shrimp in there. We like giving them tons of places that they can just hang out, do their thing. Tank's empty. What is this one? Red Rillies, it looks like. Yeah, these guys are huge. Like, look at these buried mamas. And these are the ones we're shipping. So like, what happens is we get these in, they don't sell as fast because not as many people like the red Rillies. And so they just sit in here and they just breed and breed and breed, like all over the glass, baby, 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 baby. And so so when we actually ship these, we only send the adults. So there, I mean, honestly, there's a pretty good chance of you getting some buried females. Look at that one. My lighting just doesn't do it justice, but like this one right here is just hugely buried. And then look at this. Literally like so many babies. So these ones are the yellow jades. They're called a yellow jade really, but I mean honestly they're just kind of like, I don't know, like this one right here is kind of cool. Like it's kind of got like the yellow head, yellow tail, clear midsection. So like, yeah, yellow really, I could see it. But a lot of them are like this guy, like, you know, not too cool. Like they're okay, but they're just an interesting shrimp. So I'm really excited to see what all these babies turn out to be, because there's literally, I mean, hundreds upon hundreds of them. And then there's still tons of them down here on the algae, which again, you want to have algae. Like that means you got a, you know, pretty healthy tank. Well, not always. In this case, it does. And then the shrimp actually eat it. So, you know, I like seeing algae in a tank because it means that, like, you know, there's living things in there. Like things are going good. Like this up here, love it, love it, love it, love it. I mean, if you were having that as your display tank, probably wouldn't be as good. This tank's empty. And then this one, these are actually USA bred yellow Neocaridina. So we're actually gonna have these up on the site pretty soon. These are ones we actually got from a local breeder. And so yeah, super excited to have the USA ones, because every time we import these guys, like they take us like 60 days to get them healthy, and it's just a pain in the butt, to be completely honest. And so now that we got a USA source for them, like it's going to be a really, really good thing for us. So again, really pretty. These guys should be up on the site, I would say, in the next, you know, week to 2 weeks, something like that. But yeah, really. So I want to jump over here to the plants, because this is actually my favorite setup out of this whole basement. Because if you guys didn't know this, like I am a super fan of plants, and I honestly just don't have time to take care of these plants. Like, you know, I'm busy doing other things, running the business, trying to make YouTube videos for you guys. Like, you know, I just don't have the time to be down here for, you know, 2-3 hours a day to get this system all done. And so Mark, who I talked about earlier in the video, is now, you know, doing a really phenomenal job on this. And so this system is actually the best I've ever seen it. And this is a propagation system, so like you can see like Rotula indica, you know, so much. So we actually had to put this stuff, we used to sell it for, I want to say $4.99, and we dropped it down to $2.99 just because like we have so much of it. So we really need to start selling more of it, or else it's just going to go to waste. And these are the portions we actually ship. So we propagate them, we do little bunches of them, make sure they look good, and we send like this whole pot full of it, which I don't even know is 15 stems maybe, like tons and tons and tons. And you can see it just pearls like crazy, doing really good. And so he'll actually come in here and trim this stuff up and then take it over there. And so so yeah, it's really cool. And then you know, a lot of the fun stuff is like, you know, this stuff, which is, I believe it's pearlweed. It's not labeled, but I'm pretty sure it's pearlweed. What's that? Looks like one of our mystery snails died, I'm gonna guess, and that's its body. Yeah, gross. I'll have to get that out. But you know, always the surprises you find while you're videoing. This stuff is, I want to say it's Glosso, and it's either Glosso or Baby Tears. Don't quote me, just because I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've really propagated one or the other. But this stuff we were having a hard time bringing in, and so we just started growing in here. And look at it. I mean, it's just growing like wildfire. Same thing with Luigia repens. Like that's something that we really couldn't bring in. And now we're kind of propagating it, and we're going to propagate it more and grow bigger. And then once we get to a point where we have a good supply of it, then we can start selling on the website. Same thing with all this stuff. This is some new stuff they brought in, like the Hell Fry, the Downoi. Always wanted to try that. This stuff was like on the verge of dying. And then you got things like this, like water wisteria. So water wisteria is something, you know, we sell a decent amount of. And what happens is when we bring it in, it actually comes in looking like this. And I'll show you this whole system in a little bit. But it's not converted for underwater growth, right? And so we actually have to bring this stuff in, and we'll hold this for like 2-3 weeks. Like you can see these leaves down here, they look a certain way. And then like the ones up here are starting to convert. So like these ones probably wouldn't die off if we started shipping them, but like everything down below would kind of fade away. And at the end of the day, customer just would not be happy. And so we hold these for like 2-3 weeks, maybe more. And it's just a pain in the butt. So if we can kind of get it propagating on its own, you know, it'd be much easier for us. Like, you know, same thing with this stuff down here. Like you could see this stuff's all transitioning. So we have to hold this for a long time to make sure it's good. And finally, like, you know, the tips are looking really good. But everything else kind of looks bad. So then Mark actually would go through and he'll actually trim this up, replant it, let it regrow. And just a super pain. And you know, this stuff even came in, like you can see some what is that, hair algae. And so so some things take a little bit more love. So the more things we can grow in-house, I mean, it's easier, it's better. And then we got tons of this. This was another plant that like we almost didn't have any of, the Hygrophila cherry leaf. Just a really cool, pretty plant. And now we just have tons and tons of it. So now we have it up on the website. It's all grown ourselves. It's super hardy. So like, you know, it's just really cool. Like all the different things. Same thing with water sprite. Like water sprite comes in looking pretty rough. And so we're able to grow our own in here. And then once we get to a point, we'll trim it all back and we'll take it over to the other system, get it set up over there. And then he's got some other things that he brings in. Like he's got some rare plants at home that he wants to grow out. And so he does that. And then we got things like this, the Val Torta. Just a really small nano Val, grows really cool. And this is something that, you know, we brought it in, it almost all died. We had a couple pieces that lived, and then from there we were able to propagate it. Now, you know, in the course of, you know, the next month, we'll actually be able to have that on our website and sell it. And so it's just really cool that we're able to do some of those things. And like, you know, this AR, like that is by far the best it's ever looked. And that's all, what is it? I always just call it AR because it's hard to say, but that's how you say it. Alternanthera renicia? I don't know. Hey, there's a shrimp in there. That's pretty cool. So yeah, just looking really good. So again, kudos to Mark for all his hard work and all the effort the team puts in here, especially, you know, the whole livestock team. They're all kicking butt, Seth, Alex, and Mark. But yeah, I just love. So let's before we get to the rest of the plants, let's run through this last little system of Neocaridina shrimp, and this is kind of like our overflow. So again, you know, these shrimp breed like crazy in these tanks, which is really nice because, you know, if you start with, you know, 800, by the end of it, you might end up with 1,200, which is pretty good. So these are the fantasy blues. You can just see like really good color. And then we got another tank of them down below. Same exact thing, doing really well. And then these guys are actually green jades, which are not so green, so we actually don't even have them listed on the website. So we actually have to take some time, go through this whole tank. Whatever isn't green, we take out, and we'll sell as a sorted shrimp. And so we'll put it in one of the sorted tanks, and then, you know, you guys have a chance of getting some green jades out of there, some black rose, fancy blues, because these guys, you know, they throw a little bit of everything. Because they're bred from, I'm pretty sure they're bred from chocolate shrimp. So like you can even see like there's ones over here that have like some stripes on them. There's a really funky shrimp, but like, I mean, we have so many of them. Like, you know, that orange one I imagine didn't come from them somehow, some way. It probably got in here as a baby and it grew up. But yeah, really funky, tons of different stuff. And then down below, these guys are actually USA bred fantasy blues, and so these guys will be up on our website pretty soon, but you can see like the size difference between USA bred and again, we get these from a local hobbyist, so these aren't even ones that we're breeding here. So these might be like, you know, 10th generation from imported, so you're not going to get any risk of Algaecide or anything like that. So yeah, so it makes sense to go with USA bred when available. And the only big thing is like the size difference. Like you see these guys, which are imported, which we've had for, you know, 60, 75 days, something like that, looking really good, breeding really good. And then you come over here and these ones look really good, but they're really small. And so so you sacrifice size and breeding age for guarantee that, hey, these aren't gonna have parasites and stuff like that, which we guarantee they won't have parasites anyway. But, you know, sometimes it's nice just to have an extra peace of mind. But decent amount of shrimp in here, a lot of excess food, so I'll have to get on the team for that. But again, they do a great job, and, you know, they're used to feeding 1,000 full adult shrimp, so put 200, you know, baby shrimp in a tank or juveniles in a tank. I could see where that would happen. And then down here, I want to say this looks like an assorted tank. It's just, so I always go by the labels, right? So we just haven't updated the labels yet. So this is just an assorted tank. We got a couple of these, and again, like, just look. You can see all the babies all over the back glass, but like the front glass has a ton too, like all over the place. So that's the fun thing for me. Like I enjoy seeing the babies. These ones are black rose. Again, like you want to get that nice algae bottom going in there. You can see they got tons of molts going on. Looks like one dead one right there, so I'll have to net that guy out. But yeah, look at this filter. Gotta love matin filters, I tell you. And then we got some Bloody Marys down below. The tank up top looks empty, so let's take a gander at these guys. Bloodies are just beautiful. I mean, that deep red color is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So got a whole tank of these guys. These guys actually got dosed with that Algaecide too, so there was 2 tanks that it happened on. So we actually had to move these guys and get them all back to health, and it looks like they're doing, you know, night and day better, but still a ton of molts, which means they're stressed out. And so we'll have to hold these guys for probably another 30 days just to make sure that they're good to go. But yeah, so it sucks when accidents like that happen. Soon as I get done with this bro, I'll show you guys what we did to make sure that that never happens again, and I'll show you how it happened in the first place, so you guys can see that. But then we got 2 tanks of oranges. Again, just look at the babies. I mean, it's just crazy, like all over the place, all over. And then same thing down there. So I always love feeding these guys. I'm not gonna feed them right now because the team already did. But just look, the orange just pops. it just pops in an aquarium. And then the last thing we got in this row is the carbons. And sorry, I was looking at this. You got some purling algae going on, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, so the carbons, you know, there's a lot of blue in them. You know, some are more blue than others. But we sell these as mixed patterns because, like, not all of them have that perfect pattern. Like, see that blue guy right there, but then there's one to the left of them that looks pretty good. So yeah. And then another tank up top. These are all babies though. So like we took all the adults out and moved them next door, and then we sell them out of our pond room. But these are all the babies that are left over. And then we'll actually let these grow up, and then once they get big enough size, we can take them over and sell them. But you can see there's some funky looking ones in there. So whenever we move them from one building to the other, we always call them first. And so we'll go through and make sure their color's good. We'll also do a check on parasites just to make sure they're all good. And then once we approve them, we move them next door. So yeah, let me show you what we did to prevent the algaecide from happening again. All right, so this is what ACCR is. It's ammonia, chlorine, and chloramine remover. It's by Fritz. It's really, I mean, it's really watered down compared to, like, I wouldn't even say watered down is the right term, but it's less severe than like Fritz Complete or C-Chem Prime. And so when you add this one to your tank, you really don't run the risk of cutting off the oxygen. Whereas like if you use, you know, Prime or Complete, if you don't have good oxygen exchange in your tank, you could suffocate your fish. So that's why we always use this. But this is what the bottle looks like, so just keep that in mind. And then you go over here, and this is what the algaecide looks like. So similar bottle, similar colored label, and it's all the same. So this is what the guys did, which I like it. It says, I kill shrimp. And then on the top, it says, I kill shrimp and snails. So smart idea to do that, because if you're in a hurry and you're just not paying attention, I could see how this bottle can get confused with that bottle. So now that that's done, hopefully it never happens again. But moving on to the plant system, we got the sump down here. We got some dwarf lily bulbs. We sell 3 packs of them down here. This is the Rotala tank that we touched on a little bit ago, Rotala indica. I mean, this stuff is just, I mean, it's just phenomenal. This stuff goes crazy. We have some Val Gigantea, and so we actually need to, this is going to be listed on the website pretty soon. We really want to get this propagating more before we start listing it though, but we should have some of it on the website soon. Down here we got narrow leaf chainsword. This one, which I'm actually not sure what it is, Ludwigia Super Red Mini. So this must have been a new plant that we got in this week that we're going to try to propagate ourselves and at least grow out and see how it does. But already, I mean, you can see it's purling, it's doing really good. It looks really healthy. And then we have water Sprite over here. So this is all water Sprite that we ordered in, at least I'm pretty sure. Some of it may have been propagated by us. We got Rotala Wallachia up here. And then this is kind of how we propagate them. We put a bunch of stems into some foam and then let it grow up. And then this is kind of our selling system. This stuff should be listed on the website fairly soon. Surgeon Repens. This stuff is just, I mean, it's just an awesome growing plant. Look how healthy it is. So we've actually been propagating, well, I wouldn't say we, Mark has been propagating this stuff like crazy. So I want to say, you see all the ones that have the signs, like there's, I don't know, maybe 5 of them, it looks like, 2, 4, 5, maybe 6, 7, something like that. All the ones that have the signs, and I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. The signs are ones that we bought, and then all these ones are all propagated. So we actually have, I think it's over here. We actually have all the pots that we propagate out of. That's the rock wool, and then Mark has more rock wool over here that he uses, and he kind of has his own system on how he does it. But the dude's doing a phenomenal job. So I got to give credit where credit's due. We have a bunch of red tiger lotus up here, which it came in looking pretty rough, so we're letting it float so it gets extra light. And then we actually have some red crypts, which red crypts always melt when we get them in. So we have to like these are ones that we're nursing back to health. So like that one's a new growth one. This one's like a lily pod or something. Sorry for the camera. But yeah, so we let this stuff melt all the way back, and then like you can see, these ones are all new, so they're melting. So we let them melt, and then we list them after they start growing back. Oops. And then down here we got tons of Monte Carlo. We just sell so much of this stuff. And this is just a great plant too. We keep it close to the surface so it gets extra light. And this stuff does really well. If I can put the lid back on. And then this is the cherry leaf. The Wigia, I think it's the Wigia cherry leaf. So that's all the stuff that we've propagated. We got the dwarf baby tears looking good. And then this stuff is the super red rotella, I believe. Or dark red rotella, there it is. And so this stuff, again, like just propagating like crazy. So we get, you know, once it gets up to the surface, we'll trim it back, plant it down in here, and these pots get crazy. So that should be up on the website pretty soon. Then we got Brazilian pennyworth, like just so much of it, it's unbelievable. We got some winterloaf over here. What is this? Micro swords. Get a little bit. See up here, we're getting a little bit of algae, and on this one. So I'll have to figure out what our plan is for that and what we're doing to get rid of that. But you can see like some of the stuff over here starting to get it. So that's probably why we haven't been selling this stuff. But the bulbitis actually is something we ordered and we haven't put on the website yet either. So that's coming soon. Tons and tons of Java fern. And again, like we didn't do anything special for this video. Like this is literally me on the weekend just being like, I'm gonna go in and shoot a video because I have some time today. And so so this is like how the system just looks in a normal day. We didn't, you know, do any extra cleaning, nothing like that. Like you can see some of these, you know, we've been letting them regrow so they get a little bit more algae on them. These ones are just looking good, so these ones we'll be able to sell. Some more over here, and then some Oslet swords over here. We don't have the light on in this tank because we're trying to cut back on the algae. And then Hydrocotyle japonica is one of my favorite plants. Super easy. It doesn't look good when you're just looking in here, but like when you get this between some rocks and stuff, like it's just like a really, really cool small plant. So I absolutely love this stuff. And then up here we got some jungle val. We propagate this all ourselves again. And this is the water wisteria that we're letting convert. And then we got Val spiralis leopard. So this stuff isn't on the website yet, but we got tons of it. And so we need to get that up pretty soon. We just need a picture, and that's the last thing that I've been waiting on is me to have the time to take the picture. And then this is just regular Italian Val. Again, propagate all this ourselves. It's just easier that way. And the stuff grows pretty fast, so it gives us the ability to propagate it. Tons of moneywort. Looks like there's some dwarf sage mixed in there on the right side, and this whole left side's all dwarf sage. And so we're able to propagate this stuff too, which is really nice. Like a lot of these smaller pots are all of ours, even though it has a sticker or a sign in there, if you want to call it that. We save these signs whenever we have a plant that dies, and so every once in a while we got a couple extra signs. But yeah, this stuff's looking really good. And then dwarf lilies, one of my favorite plants, super easy to keep. Like you can just see, like this is just a huge bunch of them. And then we actually have like a little glass tank back here. Bulbs that haven't sprouted we put back there so we can keep a closer eye on them. And then we have a bunch of assorted boosts here that's listed on the website. And then these are Taiwan lilies, so these guys are actually really sweet. You can see they all propagate right up to the surface of the water if I can get it to focus. And so these guys are super duper uber easy to propagate. And so we actually propagate these ourselves. We grow them here. You can see there's some Siamese algae eater cleaner crew back there. I just scared them. Let's see if we can get them on camera. I don't know where they went now. They're somewhere in there. But we keep a lot of Siamese algae eaters in here, a lot of snails, some Amano shrimp. And then down here, we got a ton of Anubias Nana Petite. This is just a phenomenal seller. Everybody loves Anubias Nana Petite. And then we have the regular Anubias Nana over here. We got some stuff that's got the hair algae on it, so we don't sell that. But it's all balancing out. Like the new leaves, you can see new leaves are looking great. And yeah, just a lot of fun. A lot of fun in these systems. And then this stuff, the 4-leaf clover. All these ones are ones that we propagate. This is what they look like when they come into us. And then we actually are able to just propagate it ourselves. So it is really cool to see the difference. So for some reason we must not have had this stuff listed on the website. So then this stuff all got double ordered because this is all new. And so we just need to make sure we get this stuff listed up on the website. But you can just see like A little bit of purling bubbles all over the place. Got some dwarf hair grass, some mats of java fern. We got the bronze crypts. There's a Siamese algae right there doing some work. And then green crypts over here, narrowleaf java fern, tons of that. Crypt spiralis, you can see there's some, it looks almost like, I think Christmas moss growing down there. Yeah, it looks like Christmas moss to me. Just randomly growing in one of our tanks. We got tons of Amazon swords down here. For whatever reason, they sent us really small Amazon swords, but that's okay. Narrowleaf, Anubias nana narrowleaf. And then, oh, here's that stuff. Yeah, so it was Glosso. So this is stuff we ordered in, and you can see like the tips look really good, but then it starts dying off of the roots sometimes. And so our stuff is like right here, so we actually do it in bunches, and it does a lot better that way. But yeah, and then that guy, I don't know what that guy is. High grow blue probably. I'll have to ask Mark about it. And then some more Anubias. Actually, that's Cophifolia. So yeah, ton of stuff going on in the plant system. So we're actually in the works. You can see we got all these 20-gallon longs and 40 gallons and some more over here. We're actually doing our second plant system right here in the near future. And then this will actually become a part of the rack. We're actually going to build a shipping station into the rack. And so that's probably going to be, I don't know, maybe in the next couple of months, something like that, as soon as we get some free time. But yeah, just absolutely love the plants. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this long overdue update video. I'm gonna try my best to get more of these out to you guys. Do an update video on the other building and kind of show you what's going on with our fish, what's going on with our snails, our shrimp, all that kind of stuff. But I appreciate you guys hanging in there. Next time I see you, hopefully we'll be at 100K, or at least extremely close to 100K subscribers, because we're right there. We're so close. So super excited to hit that milestone and see, you know, just see you on the other side of that. But guys, girls, members, everybody, customers, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your love. And I'm really blessed to be able to do what I do every day. You guys make it a phenomenal weekend, and we'll catch you on the flip side. God bless.